Welcome to Retardo Remastered Episode 1B. First of all, I'm so sorry that this episode took so long. My excuse is that my laptop deleted all its files and then broke, so I didn't have anything to work with for a while. On top of that, my family and I had to recently evacuate our home due to fires, so I haven't really had much time to work on the episode nor the means to produce this episode. As a result, this is literally being produced on PowerPoint on my friend's laptop. I'm so sorry, but hey, at least the episode's out. So anyway, we received 12 votes, which is a lot less than I was expecting. It means that not even every contestant voted, which, contestants, remember, you are allowed to vote and you're even allowed to put your own response first. But anyway, it was enough votes that we had a decently spread out mix. In a private message, Zacky Boy told me that they're quitting Retardo Remastered, so that means we have 20 responses that will be judged. So who won? Well, the winner won with an amazing average percentile of 78.42%. Who was it? Well, with the response, I would remove homework from school, give food and water to the homeless, and make gang cubes cheap, the winner is Declan. And he will be receiving a plus 5% advantage in episode 2. Second and third place also get the prize, and they are Coolboy83 and Leopard Sun. Now it seems that the top 3 all got into the top 3 due to them using their powers for good, though in Coolboy83's case, they were only willing to go so far with that. Here's the rest of the top 10. Now, before we move on, I kinda feel bad for you, Pop and Kenny, because you had a better natural score than Coolboy, but you got pushed out of the prize zone due to the 10% advantage. Sorry about that. Maybe I shouldn't have done that, but hey, it's too late. Now it seems that being nice with your power isn't just a top 3 thing, with everyone in the top 10 except for Upside using their powers for good. And I must say, Upside, I really like the way you interpreted the prompt, but it seems like some voters did not. More on that later though. While Pop and Kenny and Mr. Arto tried to unite the world through peaceful means, Cranberry tried to unite the world through violent means, although I must admit I really like Cranberry's response. Both Sony Portal and Jack's Meat reference Retardo Remastered itself, which apparently voters liked. And finally, Gurneys, your response was definitely the most interesting of the top 10. The column on the right shows standard deviation. It essentially shows how much voters disagreed on the responses. Therefore, you can clearly see that Gurney's response with the highest standard deviation was the most controversial response of the top 10, probably because it includes a rather niche reference. But what was the most controversial response of all? That honour goes to Human Name, with a ridiculously high standard deviation of 33.79%. Human Name's response was also the only one to receive both a first place vote and a last place vote, really showing how controversial it was. And Florida Man Evolved was the most controversial among responses that actually stayed to the character limit. On the other end of the spectrum, the least controversial response was Declan's response, I would remove homework from school, give food and water to the homeless, and make gang cubes cheap, with a really low percentage of 12.52%. I find it interesting that the top 2 overall contestants also fill out the top 2 with least controversial responses. Everyone just agreed universally that these were great responses. Now onto the interesting bit. If your name isn't highlighted green, that means you haven't been shown on the leaderboard yet. So, going in the order that you responded to the prompt, I'll spotlight everyone who's left's response individually to show how well they did. So first up is Human Name. Human Name's response was, first I would fix all the problems in the world, no matter what it is, world hunger or nature killing people. As we know, this was the most controversial response, but it also goes over the character limit. Were voters able to put that aside for the material seeming to want to fix the world? Let's find out. 31.05%. That seems really low, but remember that this is the bottom half of contestants, so maybe it's not too bad? I don't know. Next up is Loaf, who had the shortest response of everyone. I think I would buy some bread and eat it. This measly 42 character response may have divided the voters amongst whether they thought it was short and sweet or lazy. Let's find out which viewpoint it is. Whoa, 47.37%. That's significantly better than Human Name. Good job. Next up is Mocha, whose response was, I would help people, but now with my power, I can know who my real friends are and just a phony fake friend. I hate to be that guy, but this isn't a coherent sentence, and also it's over the character limit, just like human names. Is it still able to do better than human names despite the mistake? Ouch, 27.63% is the lowest score we've seen so far. We'll have to keep watching to find out what your true fate is in this episode. Up next is Jaden Zhang, whose response was, "What I will do is something like 2, make an object show, and it will glow." While this response is at the bare minimum within the character limit, and also incorporates a nice rhyme, so let's see how it does. Oh no, it looks like this response did not receive glowing ratings from voters. 26.05% is a really bad score, might even be last place, but we'll have to keep watching to find out. Florida Man Evolved is the next one up. Some people were considering that I should give Florida Man a penalty due to what happened in EFOFW, but I didn't. Let's see how this Floridian does with the response. "Everyone shall be talking in 11-word sentences. Everybody will do amazing during EWAL that way." Well, so far, we've seen a mixed bag when it comes to references and responses. Let's see how yours does. Whoa, 49.47% is pretty good. It's in fact the highest score we've seen so far in this 1x1 format. Nice work. Now, we're starting to see a pretty big divide in clumps with the scores. Can our next contestant, Brick94, close the gap a bit? Now, Brick94 was the one to submit the questionable response, which I'm not going to read on YouTube, but you can if you want. Let's see how this response does. %33.99%. I have no idea how this response did so well, genuinely. How it beat 3 other responses, at least. Next up is Matches Way Better, with the response, "Definitely make every object show's upload schedule weekly," which is in fact their second shortest response we've seen, at just 59 characters. Let's see how it fared. %39.47%. It doesn't seem like a great score, but it's actually in the top half so far for this 1x1 format. I guess voters just like shorter responses compared to longer ones. Elemental Domino is next on stage. How well will this domino do with the response? "Copy and paste endangered red pandas, saving the soft, adorable animals from imminent extinction." That's a great idea, and it's in fact the only response to talk about conserving wildlife over human life, or anything else. Let's see how it does. Wow, that was over fast. 51.58% is a great score, and you'll probably only be losing a couple HP this episode. Nice job at softening the blow. Bugbird is our second last contestant to be judged. How well will Bugbird do with the response? Oh god. Yeah, Bugbird was the one who submitted the ridiculous 508 character response. First of all, I'd set about ridding the world of injustice and stopping climate change. I'd do this gradually and in secret so that any one act could be viewed as a coincidence. People would start relaxing at the improved state of things, thinking whatever stroke of luck befell them, and right when they're beginning to let their guard down is when I transform the entire human population into furries. Then I'd bring back the thylacine and, with my work complete, go fuck off to space and try to eat a moon. I like the approach you took, but you definitely could have truncated it a bit so it didn't go 5 times over the limit. Did voters have any sympathy for you? Apparently not. 21.32% is by far the lowest score we've seen so far. And with only one contestant who left a place, you're guaranteed to lose a lot of HP. Speaking of which, YoshiPipe539 is the last contestant to be scored. How will Yoshi do with the response? "Destroy the world, send in the nukes, I'll just start a new civilization somewhere else." Let's find out. Not bad, 41.58%. And with that, you've actually placed in the top half of contestants losing HP. In case you're curious, here are the results in the traditional format. I decided to colour all contestants losing HP in red, so this entire page, essentially. Now we can see everyone's average percentiles and standard deviations stacked next to each other. Also, YoshiPipe539, for God's sake, can you please send in a transparent form of your book persona? It just looks so out of place here. To summarize, here's all the contestants along with their HP, with prize winners being highlighted in green. To the remaining 20 of you, it's time for the second prompt. What is it? Well, it's happening. The zombie apocalypse has just begun and you need to protect yourself. However, in the short amount of time you have, you are only able to grab one household item to protect yourself. What is it and why? Respond by December 30, 2023 at 4 PM AWST, and I promise Episode 2A will be released January 1st. No delays this time. Oh, and one more thing. Living contestants, if you want, you can customize your book persona at the same form where you submit your response. In addition, you can also add a confessional, which I might read in Episode 2A. Please remember that none of this is mandatory besides the actual response. And Declan, Coolboy83 and Leopardson, you don't have to do anything differently, but just rest assured that your 5% boost on your Episode 2 response will provide an extra layer of safety. Okay, that's it. Goodbye.